Have you ever felt too small to make a difference? Have you ever believed that power and size are the only things that truly matter in this world? We often think that the strong have nothing to fear, and the small have nothing to offer. But what if that isn't true? What if the greatest strength can be found in the gentlest heart, and the biggest rescue can come from the tiniest hero? Welcome to Gift of the Magi, where we explore the timeless truths hidden within our most beloved stories. Today, we journey deep into a sun-drenched jungle to uncover a story about how a single act of kindness can change everything, forging the most unexpected friendship between two creatures, one mighty and one small. This is the tale of the lion and the mouse, told as you've never heard it before. In the heart of a sprawling, emerald jungle lived a magnificent lion. He wasn't just a lion, he was the king. His name was Leo, and his roar was the law of the land. When he drank from the watering hole, others waited. When he walked, the path cleared. His mane was like a fiery crown, and his eyes held the wisdom and authority of generations. But being king could be lonely. Every creature respected him, but they also feared him. He spent his mornings patrolling the vast borders of his territory, his powerful paws making soft thuds on the forest floor. He would watch the families of monkeys chattering in the trees and see the young deer playing in the meadows, and a quiet sigh would sometimes escape his chest. Power, he knew, was a heavy cloak to wear. One particularly warm afternoon, after a successful hunt and a hearty meal, a deep drowsiness fell upon Leo. The jungle hummed with the lazy drone of insects, and the shade of the great banyan tree was just too inviting. With a final, contented yawn that shook the leaves on a nearby bush, the mighty king of the forest stretched out his massive body and fell into a deep, sound sleep. Now, living in the roots of that very same tree was a family of field mice. Among them was a young mouse named Milo. Milo was smaller than the rest, but his heart was filled with a curiosity that was twice his size. To Milo, the sleeping lion wasn't a terrifying beast. He was a landscape. A huge, furry mountain that breathed. The rise and fall of the lion's chest was like a gentle earthquake, and his snores were like distant thunder. Elder Mouse, Milo, come back. Are you mad? That is the king. One flick of his ear could send you flying. Milo, but look at him. He's just a big, sleepy hill. His tail looks like the most wonderful slide in the whole jungle. Just once. I have to try it. Ignoring the worried squeaks of his family, Milo's adventurous spirit took over. This wasn't about being disrespectful. It was the call of an irresistible playground. He scurried silently towards the colossal creature. The journey from the ground to the lion's back was an epic climb, his tiny claws finding purchase in the thick, golden fur. He reached the tail, a long, tufted rope of fur. With a burst of courage, he slid down. It was more thrilling than he could have imagined. The wind whistled past his ears. He landed softly on a bed of moss and, giggling, he couldn't resist doing it again. He ran up the tail and slid right down. He was so caught up in his game that he didn't notice the gentle breathing of the lion begin to change. The thunder was getting closer. Suddenly, the world went dark for Milo. A huge shadow fell over him, and the ground trembled. Leo, the king, was awake, and he was not pleased. With a furious, earth-shaking roar, he snatched the tiny mouse from the air, clamping him gently but firmly beneath a paw the size of Milo's entire body. Milo, oh great king, I am so sorry. I was just playing. I meant no disrespect. Leo, playing? You were playing on me? The king of this jungle? I am not a hill for your amusement, you tiny pest. I have a mind to swallow you in a single gulp. The lion opened his massive jaws, revealing teeth as sharp as daggers. Milo could smell the lion's last meal and felt a terror he had never known. All his courage vanished. But in that moment of pure fear, a desperate idea sparked in his mind. He had to appeal to the lion's heart, not just his anger. Milo, oh mighty king, please. I beg your forgiveness. Don't eat me. What honor is there in eating someone as small and insignificant as me? I am not even a mouthful for your greatness. Please spare my life. Let me go, and I swear to you, I will never forget your mercy. It may seem impossible now, but perhaps one day, even a tiny creature like me can help you. Leo paused. He looked down at the trembling mouse. Help him? The idea was so utterly absurd, so preposterous that the lion's anger began to melt away, replaced by a deep, rumbling amusement. A chuckle started in his chest and grew into a hearty laugh that echoed through the clearing. Leo, you? Help me? That is the funniest thing I have heard all season. Very well, little one. You have made me laugh. That is more than most of my subjects can do. You are lucky that I have just eaten a full meal. Consider your life spared. Leo, go now. But heed my words. Do not disturb my sleep again, or I will not be so merciful. Now, disappear from my sight, Milo. Thank you, noble king. Thank you. You will not regret this. And with that, Milo scampered away as fast as his little legs could carry him, his heart still pounding with a mix of terror and gratitude. Life returned to normal in the jungle, or so it seemed. A few days later, a new, unwelcome scent drifted through the trees. The scent of man. 2 hunters, seeking fame and fortune, had entered the forest. Their goal was the ultimate prize, the magnificent Lion King. Hunter, this is the spot. He passes through here at dusk. This net is strong enough to hold a rhino. He won't stand a chance. Hunter, imagine the glory. The men who captured the great Leo. They lay their trap with skill and cruelty, covering the thick ropes with leaves and dirt. They then hid behind a large thicket, their hearts pounding with anticipation. As evening began to paint the sky in shades of orange and purple, Leo made his way down the familiar path, unaware of the danger that lay in wait. In an instant, his world turned upside down. The rope net pulled taut, digging into his fur and hoisting him off the ground. He was caught. Trapped and helpless, a roar of pure fury and shock erupted from his throat, a sound of rage and disbelief. He thrashed and pulled, his immense strength useless against the expertly tied knots. Hunter, we've got him. Quick, tie it to the tree. We'll go back to the village and get the transport cart. The hunters secured the struggling lion and departed, leaving the king of the jungle tangled and defeated. Leo's roars of anger slowly turned into roars of frustration, and then, as the hours passed, into roars of despair. The mighty king was now a prisoner. His desperate cries echoed for miles. Every animal in the jungle heard them and shuddered in fear, hiding in their dens and nests. But one creature heard not just a roar, but a promise. Far away, in his tiny home, Milo the mouse heard the sound. He recognized the voice of the king he had met. But this wasn't the sound of anger he remembered. It was a sound of pain and fear. Milo, the king is in trouble. He showed me mercy. Now it is my turn to help him. I gave him my word. Filled with a purpose far greater than his size, Milo set off. He ran through the dark undergrowth, a tiny beacon of loyalty on a mission. The journey was long and perilous for one so small, but he did not stop. He finally arrived at the clearing and saw the heartbreaking sight. The mighty Leo, tangled in ropes, exhausted and hopeless. Milo, don't worry, my king. I am here. I will set you free. Leo, little mouse, is that you? How can you possibly help me? Milo didn't answer with words. He answered with action. He scurried up the tree and onto the thick main rope holding the net. And he began to do what mice do best. He began to gnaw. His teeth were tiny, but they were sharp and relentless. One by one, the fibers of the thick rope snapped under the pressure of his tiny, determined teeth. He chewed and chewed and chewed. It was hard work. His jaw ached, but the memory of the king's mercy fueled him. This was more than a story of predator and prey. It was one of the many moral stories the jungle would remember forever, a lesson in how no act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. Finally, with a loud snap, the main rope gave way. The net crashed to the ground, and Leo, bruised but free, struggled out of its confines. Leo, you did it. You saved me. I laughed when you said you might help me one day. I was arrogant. I was wrong. You, the smallest of creatures, have shown me the true meaning of courage and honor. I am forever in your debt. Milo, I was only returning the kindness you showed me, King Leo. A promise is a promise. Leo, thank you, Milo. From this day forward, you are not just a mouse. You are a prince of this forest and my friend. You shall live in peace, and no creature will ever harm you. Just then, the sound of the approaching hunters and their cart could be heard. But this time, Leo was not afraid. He looked at Milo, who scurried onto his back. Leo filled his lungs and let out a roar so mighty, so filled with the power of a free king, that it shook the very soul of the jungle. The hunters, seeing the freed lion roaring at them, froze in terror, dropped everything, and ran for their lives, never to return to that part of the forest again. And so, an incredible and unexpected friendship was born. The mighty lion and the tiny mouse became the best of friends, a living testament to all the creatures of the jungle that mercy and kindness are powers far greater than claws or teeth. The king had learned that true leadership isn't just about being strong, but about having a heart big enough to respect even the smallest of his subjects. The smallest key can open the biggest lock. Thank you for joining us here at Gift of the Magi. If this story of courage and friendship touched your heart, please help our community grow by hitting that like button. And be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story from our collection. Until next time, remember that a little kindness can make a world of difference.